Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week, another Wednesday Night Live with your hosts, Tanisha Slater, Craig Chapman, and our crime expert extraordinaire. Take it away.
Desiree Edwards. Hey,
Okay,
y'all.
so again, I just want to let you all know that we don't rehearse, we don't read off of teleprompters. We just come and shoot the breeze with you guys. And so we just have a little list of what we want to talk about, and then we just go at it. So I don't know what Des is gonna say. Nobody knows what I'm gonna say.
Mm-mm.
Nobody knows what Greg's gonna say.
No.
And we do our own investigation. So also, even in that, and when we're doing our case files, we have no idea what the other one is going to talk about.
Yeah, like I don't know what Des found. I don't know what Craig like that one part in Ketty when we were talking about Ketty and Craig was like, "Well, I heard that diesel fuel is hard to light, so maybe he tried to light the car on fire, but the diesel fuel wasn't catching and he had to bail." And I was like, "I did not read
I,
that."
I think that was in Colonial Parkway Murders, not
Nope,
the.
that
Yeah,
was.
Colonial. Yeah,
Oh no,
Colonial.
it was Colonial Parkway. Yeah.
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 That was my friends, Rebecca and her partner.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
that's right. And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know diesel fuel doesn't really catch fire like normal stuff." So that's the kind of thing like we
So
get
can I
really,
say one more thing about them?
yes.
I
Mm.
can't remember what Rebecca's partner's name was, but I love those women. Like I felt like, oh, I want to know them. I would like to hang out with them. Girl, you was in the Navy. Let's talk about like that's how I felt about them.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was Kathy, right?
Happy.
Kathy, there we
Yeah.
go. Rebecca
Yeah.
and Kathy. Yes, I felt like they were my friends. Like I would want to hang out with them. What
Yeah.
bar are we going to?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like them.
That is true. And
Hmm.
it's strange because when you put yourself into that moment of like, I could see myself being friends with that person, then the heartbreak is just so much that much more
Correct.
because you're like, man, I wonder what they would be like or what they would have become. And
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
It's a fine line of like being emotionally involved, but not too emotionally
yeah,
involved, I feel like.
Right.
Because
yeah,
I always feel like a sense of sadness as I get to know these people
yeah,
who
Hmm.
obviously I'll never meet in real life.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like, and I do have to say, like, when I'm editing them and I'm just like looking through all the pictures and looking for all the things and trying to tell the story, like it's just, edit over and over and over again. You see the same
Hmm.
face, the same face, the same face, and you're just
Yeah.
rewinding the same line, trying to get it right.
Right.
And at some point, I become desensitized when I'm doing it because if I didn't, I would be crying the whole time editing
Right.
people's stories. And then it's like once it's finished and then I watch it, then it just like all of that humanity comes back at like, wow, that was really like that was really horrible. That mom, that
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
but do
100%.
this because one, it keeps the stories alive. And we're not the only ones carrying the torch of people's stories. You can find this story on tons of podcasts, and we're just joining along with them and sharing our take and our theory and
Right.
the way we think about things. Um, and it's just good to talk about. It's good to talk about these things. Um, I mean,
Speaking of being very improvisational, it allows us to learn from each other's point of views as well.
yes,
Correct.
Because we always have very different point of views, I feel like.
yes. Yes. So we came up with a list tonight of some categories for documentaries that you may or may not have seen. So if you want to skip out when we say the name of this, you can put it on pause. If you don't want any spoilers and you want to go watch it yourself first and then come back and watch, okay. But we're going to do this because these are not only a lot of people have watched these, but they've been talked about. They might not be the most the best documentary or the most outrageous, but they're
Mhm.
definitely the ones that expose the biggest failures. And we're going to list those failures. So,
And if you disagree or agree, whatever it may be, Drop it
Okay.
in the comments, talk to us so we can talk back to keep the conversation going. I want to know what y'all think about some of this stuff,
Yeah.
especially me, because I have a lot of stuff, a lot to say about a whole lot of stuff. And come check me. Let me know what you think, what you don't think, and let's talk about it.
And
Who gonna check me, boo? Everybody.
Everybody, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it.
I think one last thing we should note before we get started, going through each of these documentaries, each one very great stories that need to be told. It's almost New Year's, so we wanted to compile this list. These are all films that came out or series that came out in the year 2025, and Happy New Year,
Happy
Yes.
New Year.
everybody.
Happy New Year's Eve into the new year.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I just think that no matter where these films and series land on our list or even our viewers list, these were some good picks. And
Yeah.
so I'm ready to talk about these because
All
I
right.
think
Let's do it.
We've got the number one in the list is the most infuriating police failure. What you guys think it is? Give you at home a second. Boom, boom. Definitely the perfect neighbor.
perfect neighbor.
Most
One we
infuriating police failure.
one we've
Perfect neighbor.
talked about
Yeah.
extensively already. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about that
Mm-hmm.
last week. Neighbors, in a small town in Florida, not getting along with one lady, and that lady decided to shoot another woman because of the frustration that built up with her and the neighborhood kids being too loud, too boisterous. The cops called out many times, many, many, many times, and literally slaps on the hand to the kids and lady behave and go about their business. And it wound up happening over a period of months to the point where you're like, how come nobody's doing anything? They just kind of show up and go, okay, stop, bye, and winds up with a woman dead, a
Well,
mother
I
that
want to
killed.
emphasize over and over and over again that this was a grown woman beefing with some kids.
Mhm.
Like, girl, if you don't get your life, these are children.
Yeah, playing
And
outside.
and yeah, and she literally had a ongoing beef with children and young children because I don't think any of them were like older than 14 or something like that. So
Wow.
these were like children.
Yeah. I mean, but
And
I'm
she
gonna go back to the Judge Judy move, okay? Because this woman, when she did the way these kids are outside,
hmm
this woman knew before she moved in that there was going to be kids in this area. It wasn't like she's like, oh, let me move in and moved in day one, sight unseen. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she visited there, new kids were playing around, and what were they going to just stop when she moved in?
yeah,
It's why you
and
live in a neighborhood with 1,000 of them.
whether she knew the children in that specific area or neighborhood played a lot. Um, it's Florida. I've only visited Florida once or twice. Um, it ain't like Detroit. Like right now, if I go outside, ain't nobody outside. It's a frozen tundra, right? But I would imagine in a place like Florida that the children are outside all the time. Aside from a rainstorm, it's nice out. The kids are outside. And that may or may not be true about Florida, but that's what I envision about Florida with this film is that these are children out all the time. It is good weather, it is sunshine. Baby, them children are having a ball. That overall beef with those kids, like if apparently something was wrong with her. But if nothing was wrong with her, she would have been embarrassed. She would have been ashamed if she was just, a sensible regular human being, but she obviously was neither of those.
Yeah. And because of that, I think, the police underestimated what she was capable of and misread the situation time and time again. And
Mhm.
therefore, we did fault at the end. We did say that this falls on
Mhm.
the police.
Mhm.
Because when you get called out multiple times, but it's like in the teens, in the 20s, the 30s, you get called out over and over and over again, and you don't do anything, something's gonna happen. Something bad is gonna happen.
Something's bad is gonna happen. Yeah,
And it, and it, and it did.
And it did.
and
And
it was allowed to. It was allowed to happen.
the fact that the woman disobeyed law every time they visited and had a smart mouth, they should have known if she doesn't respect law enforcement, she's not going to respect people in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see what happened.
And we see what happened.
So that's
One of
definitely.
the, do y'all remember when we were talking about Perfect Neighbor and we were all like, oh my God, something great has to come out of this, and what's the follow-up on this?
Yeah. Mhm.
So I did some more digging. AJ Owens is the victim in this case, for those who don't haven't watched it or don't recall. Well, AJ's four children are with AJ's mother, and I won't say her children's names or her mom's name just because I feel like let this family have some kind of privacy and peace. You can go Google this story and find out who they are on your own. I don't want to further play into that. But the good stuff is that AJ's mother has started a nonprofit organization called Standing in the Gap, which was created to offer support for families affected by gun violence and racial intimidation.
That is a good
There
thing.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we were talking about, like just that racial undertone, or calling these children racial names and slurs and things like that. That is state and hate crimes across the board. And even better is that AJ's mom, the GoFundMe for the organization had a $1 million goal. And
Oh,
so far, they have raised $660,000 of that
Wow.
$1 million goal.
Wow.
So good stuff,
yeah.
really good stuff, um, has come out of that, and that will forever, along with her children, be AJ's legacy.
And that
Hmm.
GoFundMe is still up.
Yep, it's still up.
Okay, then we should link it. Link the.
Yeah, we could link it
Yep,
in the bio. Hmm.
yep, it's still up. Yep.
Well, that is good news.
Hmm.
In the
And
description.
in some probably equally good, maybe mixed news, is that Susan's release date is April 8th, 2048.
Too soon.
Too
Yeah.
soon. And that's what I was thinking, like, yeah, okay, 25 years, right? But then I got to thinking about it, as I do with all things, go back to Des the mom. Like, my kids aged quick. Like, my daughter is like 28. It seems like just last year she was like in my arms as a newborn. So yeah, when we think about it in terms of, us sitting in the space that we are right now, 25 years may seem like a lot. But when you really think about it, that's no
No,
time.
the blink
Yeah,
of an
like
eye.
I work with attorneys all the time who have been practicing law much longer than 30 years.
I've
Like
been
I
on the
have,
planet 225 years.
what'd you say?
Been on the planet 225 years, and they went like that.
It goes
225.
just like that. Absolutely. Yep. So that's what I meant by that mixed bag of good. Like, yes, she was convicted because, like we mentioned, it was kind of looking like she wasn't if the community hadn't raised hell. And then now that she is convicted, she's gotten 25 years. But as old as she is, that might be a life sentence for her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wish
I
ill will
mean,
on anybody, but serve your time, lady.
I mean,
Serve your time.
maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows?
Have the day you deserve. Okay.
Hmm. I
All
heard
right.
that too.
So, all right.
Well, and we got
Wanna
What
one.
else we got?
This one. This one is dear to me. This one I followed, and this one just broke me up. I don't know why. I think because it was this generation's, everything is TikTok, everything is film me doing this, film me doing that. We have coming in at number two. or second or next, what have you, the case that changed public awareness, which is the Gabby Petito story.
Mm-hmm.
That one messed me
Mm-hmm.
up. There's so much there that I don't know. I go back and forth and I think that it was an accident. I think her murder was an accident and I think he panicked and I think his parents well, I mean, this could go under most infuriating police failure as well, because that boy was home and they didn't approach and they didn't question and they didn't dig. And I think the parents helped him get away. I don't think he's dead. That's just what I think.
Well,
You,
I don't think her death was an accident at all.
You don't.
And I do not. And let's roll with the maybe it was. At some point, when is it no longer?
Mm,
And what I mean by that is if it was an accident, why, like how you just said, you don't think he's dead, then why go through that? Because you're, whether it was an accident or not, technically you got to pay for that because somebody is dead. So what is that payment? Is it 2 years for involuntary manslaughter? I don't know what it would be, but you got to pay for that. Like you don't just get to kill someone and then fake your death and go into hiding. Like that ain't no accident no more.
no, it is not. But I think that for some reason, don't believe that he thought any of that up. I just think in a panic, he was taken by his parents and told what to do, told where to go, and what you need to do to get out of it. Because when you're thinking, my thoughts are just like, he could have been thinking, oh my God, like she's getting on my nerves and pushed her or whatever, and she falls and hits her head, just like you see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh my God, what did I do? And then you're panicking because you're too busy thinking about what can happen to me instead of what just happened to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
No,
Mm-mm, I don't give him that much credit, and I especially don't give him that much credit from based upon this letter, Burn After Reading, that his mom wrote to him, where she is in this letter essentially saying things to him like, "You're my boy, and I will bring you the shovel to help you hide the body." That's not what you say to someone who you feel has accidentally killed the woman who was set to be your daughter-in-law.
but I mean, they weren't too fond of her.
They may not have been. I don't believe that my mother-in-law is all that fond of me either. But I would like to think that if I came up missing or harmed, even if she said to Alex, her son, I got your back, in there somewhere it might say, son, I know this is outside of your character. Son, I know you didn't mean to do this. Son, I know this was an accident and I got your back. There was no indication of this being an accident.
Huh.
And at all things, at least, looking at it from my investigation perspective, it was a cover up. Like I don't see I could probably buy an accident if we did not have the string of building abuse between the two of them in their relationship. Like he would be in a better position to convince me of an accident than if I just watched him completely gaslight that girl with those police officers when the police officers arrived on the scene because they received a call of a guy slapping his girlfriend.
It's a hard one for me. This is
Mm-hmm.
a hard one for me because
Mm-hmm.
I'm going based off of their body language in the videos that I watched and what he was willing to do until he got fed up. Um, and that was her dream, not his dream.
Mhm.
He was tagging along, and I can see where it can get annoying, where someone's telling you how to look, how to speak, and you just want to be yourself, and you don't understand why it has to be so perfect. I see the frustration, and I could see that getting out of hand. I could see her manicness in those videos, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Him, his mama, nor his daddy, they don't get any grace or the benefit of the doubt
I
for
don't
me, none
trust the
whatsoever.
mom, the dad, especially the sister. None of them. They covered it up. They held him in that house. They were making whatever plans they had to make. You mean this is also what makes me think he's not dead is that you guys had him in the house. If you knew that your son was suicidal, you wouldn't have let him go. You didn't want, if you wanted to lose your son, if you didn't want to lose your son or he ran away or what is it that he ran away into the Everglades or whatever the
Hmm.
swamps and then maybe got eaten by alligators or ran out of food or what have you. I think it was just too convenient to find what you found, where you found it, the car. Just it all was too weird to.
Absolutely. And that's what makes me say this is not an accident. Like they walked up on him, like, oh, come on, y'all. We know where our dead son is, who may or may not have recently killed his fiance. Like, come on, I'll show you where he at.
I don't know. I don't trust the parents. I think the parents were
No. Mm-mm.
involved
Yeah.
than just him post Gabby's murder. And and just watching that and just seeing her joy and wanting to do what she wanted to do, just
But
that was
I
hard
will say
watching that.
this. When I found out that his parents, and I think they say this at the end of the documentary, that his parents came up off of $25,000 for lawyer fees. I was like, oh, that ain't no money. Like he finna go to jail. He finna get a court appointed attorney. Um, because $25,000, that is nothing to work that case. Like that case from where it expanded from one side of the country to another, his attorneys will have to hire all kinds of forensic experts, cell phone experts, all kinds of stuff. They would have had to hire those people. So I'm wondering, and this is like I said, that the sliver of hope that I gave them that matches what you're saying is that maybe they realized that. Maybe someone advised them of that, and then they saw running, faking his death, or whatever it may be as their way out. But when I saw that amount, I was like, they may have gotten like, okay, we can't go no further than this because his defense would have been extremely costly. It would have been very costly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not imagine 25,000 would go
No,
very far.
not for him. Nope. Mm-mm.
So y'all think this is a agree to disagree?
Yeah.
Agree
Yeah.
to disagree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But and I
Should
want to say this too,
I like taking tallies and scores.
like
ding.
he tried to create an alibi. So they believe that he had her in his phone and that he was texting between the two of them to create this alibi. And then I immediately thought of this fool because what he didn't realize is that in his attempts to create an alibi, he committed a federal crime, which was transfer money from his account. I mean, from Gabby's account into his account. Like you, big dumb dummy.
Yeah.
Like like it was a mess. It was a mess, and I don't give. He did too much for me to try to say This
I
was an
just
accident.
think it was doing too much on the level of I'm scrambling and I'm just trying to I'm just trying to see why A right now. And
Yeah. Mm-mm. I'm sorry, Tanisha.
mm,
Mm.
look at that.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
I'm
Craig.
trying to I'm trying to think of whose side I'm
What do
on,
you
but
think?
I think I would agree with Des on this one.
Okay, is there anybody out there who agrees with me that might think that he made a tragic error in harming this girl that resulted in her death? And
I think it may have started that way, but I think
I don't
I,
think he
I
intentionally killed her, is what I'm saying. I think he got rageful and his rage got the best of him and the worst of her.
You
And
know what we say in this business?
that
The
it,
path to hell is paved with intentions.
mm, yeah. I don't know. People, let us know what you think.
Oh, they gonna tell
yeah.
us.
Let us know what
Hmm.
you think. I mean, this is definitely one that,
So we have to leave it up to our viewers. It is now our viewers' designated job to try to convince Craig to agree with Tanisha.
yeah,
There we go.
Oh, it's
yeah.
on.
I think I might be alone on this one.
Well, we
Uh,
don't
it's
know.
it's just my gut feeling watching all the videos and watching their dynamics. That's my gut
Hmm.
feeling. And then
Hmm.
seeing how the parents behaved and what they did and how they were so just cocky and
Hmm.
that they could think that they could get away with something like that.
So Gabby's at the time her little van life video that she had made because she unfortunately only was able to make one. And the documentary ended talking about how at the time of her death that her video had like 500 views, but at the time that that documentary was made it had over 7 million.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, that's sad. That
Hmm.
makes me sad.
Yeah, yeah. It was just so much awareness raised with Gabby too. Like I remember at one point in the documentary where her dad was kind of in his feelings because there was a CNN reporter pundit lady who was saying something about this case had gotten so much publicity because Gabby was a pretty little white girl as opposed to all of the missing black and indigenous and other women of color who go missing and unreported and unfound. And her dad said that he was angered by that until he looked into it and he was like, oh,
Yeah,
wow. Like he had no idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and I was just like touched by that too. I was like, you
Hmm.
don't know because you're just bringing this awareness in. And he became aware of something that was, I don't want to say much bigger than what he was going through because what can be bigger than losing a child in this way?
Right.
But for him to get that kind of a reality check
Hmm.
made other people aware and see that if he handles it like that, why are you gonna get mad? Like, why should you get mad? You shouldn't get mad.
Right.
It's just kind of like a fact.
But it's the fact that he was unaware of from
Mm.
his place, right?
Yeah.
From his perspective. Yeah. And so Gabby's family went on, I forget the name of the legislation, but they went on to like to work to have some kind of domestic violence legislation passed that
Mhm.
changes the way victims report abuse. I think what it did is it like streamlined the reporting. So now it's just like 11 questions. You answer these 11 questions, and that's it. That we will move from there. We will determine from there, what type of force or how much attention that this needs. And I think that was done in a way to whether you are Desiree Edwards or Gabby or anyone else, those 11 questions will remain those 11 questions, no matter what walk of life you're from.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
awareness, it
good.
it
Um,
did. Hmm. And
sa-
how we get that awareness, I'm not really sure if that matters as much.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Sometimes
Yeah.
the awareness does come out of the tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that brings us to our next on the list, which is most disturbing unanswered questions. And that would go to One Night in Idaho. So many questions, so many whys, and this man is not speaking. And all the answers lie with him. And I don't understand how you just, everyone says you did it. You are in jail because you did it, but you have the right to remain silent.
Mm-hmm.
And that is hard for me to understand.
Well, it might be, but it's the Constitution.
I'm just
It
like,
it, it
maybe sometimes I'm just thinking a little too much. Like, you, one chair, a dark room, and a big dude, and you gonna tell the truth.
Oh, and then that's when Dad's coming, and now you finna go home, and you will never be in prison a day in your life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cause let me find out something like that happened with my client. We don't have to play that. We don't have to do that. Like he with all of the you if you're the prosecutor and you're the police, just let the evidence, just let your investigation speak for itself. Just let that play out. Just let it play out.
I don't know. Like, there was there were so many documentaries out about this, just so much.
Can, can we start with a overview of what happened?
Could you want to do it, Craig?
I don't know what happened. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know what
I
happened.
didn't.
So
I haven't watched. This is one of the ones that I haven't watched.
so
So
here's what happened.
yes.
So in Moscow, Idaho, I believe was the
Yeah.
state. It's a small college town. One of those college towns, at least I figured, only exists because the college is there. I forget the name of the college.
Mm.
But it was a group of friends, four, five, six friends, and some of them lived in this house together.
I listened to podcasts about this.
Yep. And
It's
then,
the four roommates that ended up getting
yep,
murdered. Yeah,
while there were two roommates still in the home.
yeah, okay.
So for me, one of the first things that I thought about was, oh my God, here goes this investigation. And the reason why I thought that, y'all, is because Sunshine Investigations gets tons of Title IX cases. And Title IX cases, it's a law from 1972 that prohibits sexual violence and discrimination in schools. And schools take it extremely serious because if they are found in violation of Title IX, they lose federal funding. And what made me worried about this investigation is when you have groups of sorority and fraternity members, good luck with getting them to talk. It is very difficult to do. So that's what I was like, oh my goodness, here goes this investigation. Then to find out that this two roommates who were in the house at the time of these murders, who not only were in the house and communicating via text message with one another, talking about, so, ooh, do y'all hear that? What's going on? The stuff happened at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they didn't report it to the police until almost noon.
So you're hiding and you're scared.
They said they fell back asleep or something, right?
Yeah, no, I know. Okay. Like I've had plenty of sleepovers with my friends. We have watched plenty of houses. We have heard plenty of cracks and creaks. We have done the texting from room to room, but you don't fall back asleep. You go and go, okay, I'm either going to call a friend outside to come check on me, or I'm going to call the police, but I might not call the police depending on what we've been doing. But I'm not going to go back to sleep. The way my mind is, if my best friend is in a room upstairs and I thought I heard something, oh, I'm checking on my best friend.
Well, not only did they not check on the best friends, when they woke up at almost noon, they started calling everybody over. Why are you calling these people over? You don't know what's going on in this
Maybe
house. You
inviting someone in to get harmed themselves.
absolutely.
Don't
And
know.
that is one of the things where when I say good luck with getting them to talk is because we're talking about a population of people who are very young, and essentially some of them are babies, 17, 18 years old. This is their first time away from home. This is probably their first time ever in police contact. And let's be for real, these are probably upper middle class to very well off white children. So they probably never experienced police in this way. So was their reaction to that weird, but was it unexpected? Right? Like weird. You know, I'm a seasoned lady. You see my gray hair. So for me, I can say, oh, those kids, they should have called and they should have did this or
Yeah,
that.
right.
Right. But if I am all of those things that I just mentioned,
Mhm.
I might not have.
Yeah.
It might not have meant anything to me to call someone over.
That's true because it's very easy to put yourself in your
Correct.
knowledge, the way you think in every
Hmm.
all experiences, putting yourself in that house and going, this is what you should have did, this is what I would have done. But if you pull yourself back and you say, okay, I'm a 17-year-old kid, I've never been out in the world yet, I'm partying with my friends, I haven't experienced anything, I'm still kind of innocent.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
I've
trust me.
I from my parents' hard work, I have been subjected to a good, comfortable life. I don't know nothing about no police. I ain't never had a traffic ticket. I don't know what none of this mess is.
Yeah,
None of it. So it was a whole lot of Des, check yourself with this story, and don't try to dictate how these children who are from a completely different universe than you would have maneuvered in their said universe.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think, go ahead.
because I was going to say, when I'm working those Title IX cases, I have to cross all those boundaries, the age, the culture, the all of those things. And like we said on last week's live, meet people where they are. So I'm 50 years old trying to meet 17, 18-year-old college kids, you know what I'm saying, where they are. So I was just like, these investigators, they got a time on their hand.
I do have one of the most disturbing unanswered questions of all, which is why in the world did they tear that house down? Not even a year, right? Like not even a year, maybe a little over a year, when you could have had jurors walk through, you could have missed something. Um, there are people who go back to crime scenes 20 years later, could possibly find something, could possibly find a hairbrush, anything, but you tore the entire thing down. I
Yeah,
don't understand it.
I was saying, y'all know me, and it has been up until this day, and it probably will be every day hereafter. I am always quick to question the police, but I'm telling you, this was one time in the police investigation. I was like, okay,
Really?
yeah. I especially liked how they didn't say nothing to nobody about nothing. When they would have press conferences and the media folks would ask them questions, the police chief or whoever that gentleman was, he would just simply say, "Y'all safe. I got this." And what more is needed? So I am wondering if at that point, if it was a okay, tear this house down. We don't need it no more. We got everything we
Got
got out of
everything they need.
it. Yeah, because what you also want to with stuff like that is you have to balance out the usefulness of maintaining that structure, in this case, a home, versus what emotional turmoil does the presence of that home cause to that community. So let's go back to this is a college town, the demographic of the people who live there. That's traumatizing as hell for those kids to go back and forth to class or live in these off-campus housing, and it's that house that's still there. So I don't necessarily feel any kind of curiosities about that.
Really? And what
Mm-mm.
I just always am in the mindset of what if you missed something?
I mean, you might. I mean, we gonna miss a whole lot of stuff right now. Like it's I don't know, it's probably some stuff that I wanted to talk about for the follow-up with Perfect Murder. I mean, Perfect Neighbor. But I
Mhm.
forgot that. But
We
does
should
my
talk
point
about it.
still resonate?
True.
Like you might miss something.
Well, going back to you were saying the guy not saying anything, they caught the guy that did it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's just not saying why he did it. Is that what the problem is?
He's just not speaking about anything.
Okay.
hmm
Saying motive, not saying why, not saying if he did, didn't, just silence.
I mean, there
Yeah,
was all kinds of weird things that he did, right? I mean, like,
He was like a little bit of a stalker, and
yeah.
I guess they say that he may have been on the spectrum, that he was a little bit different or thought differently, or just didn't really have a lot of friends. Um,
Wasn't he taking classes about
Criminal justice.
like how to cover up a murder,
Yeah,
essentially?
he wasn't just taking classes, he was a PhD candidate for criminal justice and criminal behavior or something like that. And I think that was one of the theories, is that because he was such a good student by all accounts, that he committed these crimes simply to see um if he could get away with it type deal. But yeah, he definitely knew what he was doing until he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, he got across the country to Pennsylvania, and that's what I mean. Like I was in love with this police force. If this police force handled this the way that documentary showed that they handled this, I have no complaints with them whatsoever. Whatsoever. All they kept saying was, "We got this. We got this."
That was my only thing, is why did they tear it down? So what, not why did they tear it down, but why did they felt like they tore it down too soon? But what am I to say? I don't live in the town. I have lived in towns where there have been murders,
Mm-hmm.
the house to this day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just say a prayer for the woman who was in it. But I mean, I just thought it was a bit too soon.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
Yeah, and like I said, what do any of us know? Because that I think college town stuff is so different from, and I don't want to say real town, but I'm gonna say real town for the sake of this conversation. College town crime is so different than real town crime because again, the the demographics there are more like transplants. They are from um
Yeah.
like I said, probably some kind of wealthy background, probably some kind of academia background. It's not what we would experience in our everyday towns. And how they react to that,
I
like
mean, yeah.
these college towns, their whole budget is these colleges. So if you got a college town and you got some kids, like I can't live here anymore. I
Yeah.
have to go to a different school. This house is still standing. I can't do this. Now that college and that town has to make a decision of what they want to do, if nothing else, to keep this money circulating in this town.
Mm,
It's almost like if you close a prison in a town, that town finna go to hell because that's probably one of the major employers in that town.
yeah.
So they had other decisions to make more
Yeah.
than who cares about this investigation.
Yeah. Definitely another hard one. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm. And it crushed my heart because I want to say the triplets, it was Ethan and his sister and his brother. And I believe it was their parents that said, like a week before these murders happened, it was parents' weekend on the campus, and that on their way home, as they were driving out of town, they high-fived one another and said, "We did it." Because after spending time with their children at school and just seeing, oh my goodness, my baby has grown up, like they were so proud. And they said they only got to live in that existence for a week because it was a week after that the students were murdered.
yeah. Mm,
Tough stuff. Like you're high-fiving, we did good. Look at my baby.
yeah. Mm,
What? My baby not just in college, my baby is in college away from us.
mm, yeah.
So,
It makes it hard, you know. I remember I was there, I was scrolling on Instagram and it was a mom who was her kid was going off to kindergarten. And I guess she was sitting outside in her car and she was like having a whole crash out over it. And people were in the comments literally just ripping this woman apart, going, woman, stop being so dramatic. Let it go. You don't got to cry like that. They only go into kindergarten. But when you think about what happens to some parents who send their kids to Sandy Hook, who sent their
right.
kids, to Columbine, who, have their kids going to Idaho, you don't expect to have that call. So you cannot judge a parent for having that kind of an emotional breakdown over a kid going to school when the things that are happening in this world today are exactly what she's crying about and scared of.
Right, but never mind that. We don't know what parents, like what their connection is with that baby or what came out of that. You can't say that. Like,
Yeah. You don't
man,
know.
listen,
You don't
my
know if it was a
kids,
miracle baby. You don't know if it was a rainbow baby. You don't know what.
you have, let me tell you something. My kids are almost in their 30s, and every time I talk to them, it's how's work? Anybody at work giving you problems? Because you know your mama come up to your job. I mean, I wouldn't to the point of embarrassing them, but that's my concern because no matter what, you're still my baby, whether you are 57 or 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a little touched and in my feelings that my baby going to kindergarten. Let me tell y'all something.
Uh-oh.
And this is full disclosure. Like I probably have never said this out loud. One of my kids, I miss their kindergarten graduation.
Oh,
And I have never recovered from that.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I never recovered from that. So these things are like for real for us. Like this is real stuff for parents.
Yeah. I mean, letting
Yeah.
your kid I don't have children, so I'm always like, how in the world? I see my friends who have kids, and I'm like,
Hmm.
how do you send them to school and not worry all day?
How do you?
You not worry all day. Like, if it's not kids being neglected or kids bullying or
Hmm.
teachers not trusting teachers, there's too many. Like to walk at home strangers, like, I mean, I know I was a kid one time and you couldn't mess with me, but not all children are like that.
Man,
No.
listen, my youngest son, he's 16 years old, maybe 17. I got four. I don't know how old they are. I barely know their names. But like on the second or third day of school, it was the no cell phones are allowed in classes with the students anymore. And right before that happened, there was a school shooting somewhere. When I tell y'all, I went up to that school and got my child out of school, and he has not been back to school. He goes to he's in virtual school right now. But y'all not finna be having my kids in no school without
Yeah.
no cell phone and people shooting up schools whenever they feel like it.
You know, it's crazy because like how much the world has changed because I went up to my school because I drive by my high school a lot. All the
Mm-hmm.
memories, everybody's got different memories, but I went into the back of the school because I got amnesia, like straight up. I don't remember half of my teachers. I don't remember what the inside of the school looked like. I couldn't even tell you which hall was what. And the other day I was talking with my best friend, like, do you remember your locker number? Do you remember your combination?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember the teachers I had, let alone my locker combination.
Right.
But so I always like drive up to the school and just see what memories trigger. And I drove to the back of the parking lot and I'm like looking and I'm like, what are all those? And I was with my best friend. I was like, what are all those numbers on the school? Why do they have all those numbers? And she's like, oh, well, that's so if anything happens, they can tell what classroom like
Mm.
something's happening in from the outside. And that made me so sick to my stomach thinking, oh, my kid's in class 10 at, this time. And God forbid something comes on the news and they're reporting that and you like got learned by a number system. Like what? I mean, I get it. It's just scared the hell out of me just thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking
So,
at school like that based on numbers.
mm-hmm. And I don't think for parents, um, your level of attachment or protection of your kids falter any, whether they are in elementary school, middle school, or with these Idaho students in college.
As I'm constantly told by my mother, I don't care
Hmm.
how old you get. She'll be like, I can't believe I have a 50-year-old daughter. And I'm like, shh. But
Yeah, you
she's
you
like,
gonna be baby,
but
you
I
her
was
baby
never,
forever.
I never feel as old as I am because she got me stuck at 13.
And that's where you will be.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
crazy, but yeah, that was like disheartening. And I thought about like when they were picking on that woman in the car for crying, and I started thinking about the Idaho 4 and started thinking about, Parkland and all the kids.
Because how can you not?
Yeah. I'm just like never fault a parent for crashing out because their child is walking into what feels like one of the most dangerous places in America these days.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that makes me so emotional about AJ, because I'm a complete nut job about mine.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
talking about that, that
Every,
brings us to our next case,
yeah.
which is the case that no one talks about enough. And that is the Carman family deaths.
mm,
This
hmm.
one I watched twice. It was, I still don't know what happened, but it's a story. It's the story of a young man who is believed to have murdered his mother out on a fishing trip. But in this documentary, you also find that the grandfather, who was like his wubby, and he was his grandfather's wubby, like special thing, um, was also murdered. And trying to suggest that it may have been him as well as him murdering his mom. And he is on is he on the autism spectrum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you just the treatment of him and like the misunderstanding of his actions and his demeanor and his speech and
Hmm.
what may seem cold to someone who doesn't understand a child that is on the spectrum could say
Right.
he did it, hands down, he did it. But when you watch this documentary and you see him, you start to understand why he thinks the way he did, why he may have survived the way he did on that life raft for some time, and what they were trying to accuse him of not being on the raft for 7 or 8 days or whatever, because he would have been starving by then. He wouldn't have been able to pull himself out of a boat. He wouldn't be able to walk because he'd have sea legs from sitting
Hmm.
in a thing that he blew up that little lifeboat at the last minute to try and look like he was getting rescued. It just was all kind of crazy to me, the theories that they were trying to say to put it on him. But what I don't know, your face, Des.
I think for this, and his name is Nathan. I think for Nathan, two things could be true at the same time. I definitely think that law enforcement handled his investigation improperly. Back to what my point was with the Ketty survivors with the children. Get a expert who is trained in the
Right.
science,
Mhm.
right? They should have done that just to protect the integrity of their investigation.
Yeah,
Now, having said that, I don't think they got it wrong.
really.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think that they got it wrong. Um, Let me rewind a little bit and let me tell you why I believe when you said you still don't know what this is. I don't think any of us know what this is because the entire family was already rooted in such abuse and such dysfunction. So if Nathan killed his mom and his granddad, that could be equally true for any of the other family members because they were all violent and just mean, cruel people to one another.
Mhm.
At one point, I want to say this guy would have been like maybe Nathan's second cousin. He would have been Nathan's mom's cousin. And he was saying like the family dynamic was so violent, but the family was so used to them being violent. He was just like, whatever. They're not sending one another to the hospital. Like, what kind of mess is that? Like,
Yeah.
that's not normal. And so when you have an environment like that and you have two dead family members, then at this point, either one of us could have done that. And matter of fact, that same family member said that one day the family was gathered and he said he's looking out the window and saw the police outside sitting out there to protect him. And he says out loud, the killer could be sitting in this room with us. So when
Right.
you create that kind of environment,
Yeah.
even if Nathan, with his special needs of being autistic, and then there was some talks of him also having some mental illness, did y'all now create the space for that to happen?
Yeah.
Because in most families, that we don't do that. We're son. We don't treat one another like that. Cousin, we don't treat one another like that. But in this environment, with this young man having whatever mental illness and cognitive delays, or whatever those things are, how, that's a norm to him.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
may have taken it a step farther because of the autism and the mental illness. But when y'all raising people in these environments and violence is just the everyday norm, then guess what? Violence is going to be an everyday norm. So that's why this feels to us like, well, did he do this? Like, who did it? You know, like who could have done this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I was extremely angered at that.
Yeah. I was just angry watching the whole thing. And I don't know. And then just for him to just have so much, just to take his own life. Uh, I don't know. This one just,
Well, I, I kind of made a timeline of what I believe led up to him taking his own life, but I want to rewind some to even go back to why and how he became a main suspect in this. And this is back to what I say when the police like you for something. So Nathan created a list of
Mhm.
4 reasons why he did not want to talk to the police. And now one of those reasons were wrong. So his list says, because
Yeah.
I wrote it down,
I was like, yep, yep.
I wrote it down. He said he emotionally cannot bear another interview. He says that he is sickened at the thought of having to prove his innocence because that is not the way the law works. You don't have to prove anything. Um, Cops are corrupt and a criminal organization. He ain't too far off the mark on that either, and that he was advised by an attorney to remain silent. So then one of the cops goes on to say, "Oh, and that was suspicious," and no, everything that's in that list is absolutely correct. But
Yeah.
because he wanted to kind of like butt heads with that authority, now he is a suspect.
Right, right.
Now,
That was a turning point
yeah,
in that for
uh-huh,
them, not for me, because I was just like, well, yeah, you
absolutely
don't feel like that. You're getting bum
correct.
rushed, and he is a logical thinker. And so he
Yep.
is putting out his thoughts on this paper, and that's what he truly feels. Does not make him a murderer.
It does not make him a murderer. And I tell my clients all the time, like the investigators on these cases, they're going to assign all the value that they need to assign to something. And one of the examples that I give is that if the police are looking at you for something and there's pictures of you online and you with a group of people and y'all all got on red t-shirts, that may have been a family reunion to you. That may have been some kind of family memorial service for you. But for the police, because they're already suspicious of you, to them that might signal, oh, y'all all got on red, so y'all bloods, right? So they're going to pick up on whatever it is that fits their narrative of suspicion and run with it. And that's what they did with him. He came up with a list. Everything on this list makes absolute sense. Everything on this list is what I tell my clients in their family. Everything on this list, because nothing on this list is a lie. Nothing.
Mhm.
And if they already suspected that boy as a suspect, it's nothing that he would have said to them that would have unsuspected him.
That would have
Nothing.
erased what they read because it's too late. It
It's
would be
too
one
late.
thing, it's almost one thing if you say it, because then you could refute saying it, but he wrote it down. And when you
He
write
wrote
it
it
down,
down. He wrote it down, but he could have written it on his forehead with a Sharpie. And the truth is, he ain't lied. None of that. You want him to y'all keep saying that he killed his mama and his daddy. I mean his granddad.
yeah.
Like that so yeah, I was like, go ahead, Nathan. But that was at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's
It takes a turn.
yeah, stuff started to progress, and I was like, oh, okay. And that's why I said I believe this was a for real case of two things can be true at the same time. And I think Nathan is the perfect example of when I say people always think that because I'm working criminal defense, that my job is to get someone off. And in Nathan, I feel that my job, as if I was his investigator, may not have necessarily been to get him off as it was to make sure that the investigation into these situations, these murders, it wasn't no mess in the game. Like they really got him fair and square. Because I don't know, Nathan. I don't know. So y'all know I pulled up the indictment on Nathan
Yes.
because Nathan was charged federally because the incident with his mom happened in the water, in the high seas. So that made it a federal crime. So the filmmakers did a really good job following the indictment. Like, oh, okay. I felt like because I watched the documentary first, um that it was like, oh, they wrote the indictment based on the documentary. Like that's how well they stuck to the indictment. But then I started looking at his case docket. And a case docket is essentially all of the things that are happening or has happened on the case. So let's talk about this a little bit. So Nathan was found in his cell on June 15th, 2023. On June 8th, 2023, his attorneys had entered a motion to reschedule a court hearing. The court hearing that was rescheduled would have um, discussed three things: 404B information, Jenks information, and Giglio information. 404B information is information that a prosecutor will want to come in that kinds of pieces together your history of doing all of these things. For 404B information to be allowed in, you are essentially seen as probably the worst of the worst, because the point of it is to say, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Desiree didn't just commit this one heinous crime. Look at all of these other things. For example, the puffy stuff, that right? How you would have, I would probably say maybe the Kid Cudi situation, that might be 404B. So when we talk about all of these witnesses who come in who may not have anything to do with anything, that is their purpose. Their purpose is to set up a string and a history that this person got to go, that we are not safe with this person on the streets. So that would have been discussed in the hearing. What also would have been discussed in the hearing is the Giglio information. That information is about, if these witnesses against me have this criminal history or if they have had any plea deals. The last one is the Jenks material. Jenks material is so volatile and so confidential that a defendant and his attorney may not get that information literally until the day of trial. And what that information is, that is the list, the names of the witnesses that the prosecutor intends to use against you, and it is their names. And it's released at a late date like that because it's so volatile that the prosecutor wants to not only protect the confidentiality of what these people have to say, but probably more important, these people's safety.
Mm.
And how all of this is relevant with Nathan is because that 404B stuff, we charged you about your mama, but your granddaddy's murder finna come into this trial. This Jenks information, these Jenks witnesses are probably your aunties and other family members, but we're going to protect them because if you killed your mama and you killed your daddy, you might kill these witnesses too.
Oh.
So Nathan unalived himself almost a week to the day that that hearing was rescheduled.
Oh, wow.
So it what it seems like is that Nathan cracked. Nathan may have said, I can't fight this. This is too much. Whether he cracked and said, I can't fight this because this is too much because he actually did these things, or did he crack and say, this is too much because I'm freaking out? I am autistic. I am mentally ill. I don't have that. Oh, it's just one day. You can, tomorrow will be better. Like, I don't have that in me. But yeah, that's what he did. He unalived himself almost a week to the day that extremely important hearing was rescheduled.
So yeah, so then it's that whole two things can be true at the same time.
Hmm. Yeah. He
I
was
think
looking at some stuff. What you say, Craig?
I was gonna say I think that would scare anybody in his situation, right?
Yeah.
And especially if somebody's like emotionally unstable or
But
on the spectrum, it may push them to kill themselves or unalive themselves.
Yeah, because it would be the weight of that. Like I have sat with clients and literally we have had almost like a counseling session to walk them through the weight of that.
it could have also been the way that his mind thinks and the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is going back to what he said in that letter that he wrote down, that he's frustrated of having to try and prove his innocence. And when you stack up the chips that much against him, he's looking at it like, I'm never going to be able.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And the way that I just broke that down to y'all, what this material is, his attorney would have not just explained to him what those items are. His attorney would have went in and explained to him what to expect.
Mm. And with all
So
those family
he,
members already pointing the finger and
yep,
saying he's always been that
he's
way.
always been that way. He's always been that. Or it could have been, a cousin or, someone who said, well, I don't know. Nathan used to beat me up whenever I would go over my auntie Linda house, who was Nathan's mom. Like we have no idea what would have come out of that, but Nathan would have had an idea.
Yeah, yeah. True,
He
true.
would have had an idea. And I think that was it.
I'm gonna go back and watch a third time,
I'm
probably.
gonna, yeah, yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
very sad case. So many people's lives interrupted
Mhm.
over it. And I always think of like when older people with the killing of the grandfather and how brutal that was. Like I'm always thinking like you did not live that long for you to leave life this way and at the hands of family.
Yeah, and that man had made a substantial amount of money. Like
It's
his
not like he
daughter,
was selfish with that money either with those family members.
he had a living trust, and I want to say, and it is four daughters, that his four daughters may have received like $25,000 or $50,000 a month.
$1,000 a month. And I think that Nathan was getting 100,000 a year.
I don't remember how much Nathan got, but I remember when his granddad died. I think he may have collected maybe 500,000. I don't know how much his portion of the trust was laid out. But even back to the family relationship. So there was one scene where I don't know if this was a wedding or not, and they introduced the dad. What was his name? John or something?
Oh, yeah.
But they introduced him, and the daughter who was on the microphone, her introduction to her father was, Daddy, I need some money.
And then, I think his laugh and his giggle is that, of course, you can have it. Like he doesn't seem like there was any motive over money. And I remember
Right.
one of the motives was that Nathan just wanted money. He's not even that kid.
Yeah, well, if
And
you
stayed in the
leave,
trailer versus the house.
well, that might be part of the spectrum,
Right, but
and
that's not
yeah,
money. Not money. I mean, I don't.
no, mm-mm. But
Money's not the thing.
if you lead with the introduction, Daddy, I want some money. That is the introduction of when your father walks into the room.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe you do have a motive to kill your daddy.
I mean,
Hmm.
dad's not giving you enough.
Because it wouldn't be enough. If you getting $50,000 a month, that ain't gonna be no enough. I promise you that ain't gonna be enough money
I
because
know
you're
how
used to
problem.
getting $50,000 a month.
True. It's all gross and disgusting.
Very gross and very disgusting. Very
Yeah.
gross and very disgusting.
The whole thing is just gross and just feels real, eh, real, real gross watching it. Just
Hmm.
slime,
Hmm.
just slimy,
Yeah.
and you just feel bad, for the kid.
Yeah, they definitely raised him in an environment where this is not a shocking outcome.
Hmm. Well, we're gonna round it out with our final. Our final
Who's
one.
that?
Our final one
This
is
is the one I know the least about, I think.
okay, you know the least about this. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the most preventable tragedy. And that is going to be filed under that is deadly American marriage. This one was insane. Since you know so much about it, Craig, why don't you tell us?
All I know is what you guys were talking about earlier.
The
Yeah,
the
Uh,
the people want to hear you speak, Craig.
the people want to be calmed and soothed by Craig.
well, I just remember you saying it was a bit messy, maybe on the part of the wife. Is it the wife or the are you guys talking?
Yes, Desiree, do you have a question or you want to say something?
I do.
Do it.
I think she preyed upon that man.
Absolutely.
She preyed upon him. She saw, I think this is trauma bonding gone horribly wrong. She had, at least she claims, to had lost the child to miscarriage. He had lost his wife to what was believed at the time to be an asthma attack.
Mhm.
And I believe Lil Mama was like, okay, I got one. Um, and then she proceeded to turn on her charm. She pressured and pursued him, so much so that he is telling her things like, I got to look out for my kids. We might be moving too fast. I don't want to, put them in a position of maybe losing another mother. And then she's giving him that, well, I'm not waiting no more. I'm not going to be here forever. That kind of stuff. Um, and yeah, so she moved that man back over here to the States because they were from Ireland, I believe. And they moved here to the States, and then her and her daddy beat him to death. So much so that while his body was on the table at the morgue, they said a piece of his skull fell apart, just fell out on the table.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you have hit someone with that much force, at what point were they dead? Where
They-
when you finally stopped beating them, you could have been stopped beating them.
Yeah.
And it's that overkill back to Gabby that makes me feel that that mess wasn't, it was no longer an accident. Like this is no longer self-defense.
Yeah.
Craig, you look like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just listening.
Okay. That's your I'm
That's
just
tough.
listening face.
It's tough to hear. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like at what point? Because how many blows does it take to crack a piece of someone's skull apart? And let's say the number is 100. Well, if the number is 100, then you probably could have stopped at 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the rest of those blows was just malicious
After the
destruction.
fact. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there was just a lot of, twists and things about this, about the children and her manipulation of the children and turning the kids against him to side with her to try and get the kids to see that their dad might be violent, in order to speak out against in her favor so that somehow she can get custody of these two kids from this violent man. Those are his children. They have grandparents, they have
Yes.
other family, and she thought that she was going to take these kids and they were going to be her kids. She's going to go back to Ireland and just, live her life with someone else's kids and think
Hmm.
it's just normal.
And think that
That,
that is normal.
And
After
that
you
don't
have,
sound
these
normal.
kids up, mess these
after,
kids so
and
terrible.
this is after you have beat their father to death, where
Yeah.
pieces of his skull is falling out of
Mhm.
his head.
Yeah.
That is after all of that. Like the audacity of this one was
Yeah.
was
She just
very
raged me the whole time. It's like, how like you're watching something, you don't really know who did it, and then you
hmm
start to believe her, like, oh, yeah,
hmm
he probably did do that. And every single turn that they tried to show her in that light, I was just like, she's a master manipulator.
Well, one of the things that I really appreciated with this story and investigation is that in Michigan, it's called Kids Talk. It is the organization where you will send children to, for forensic interviews if they have witnessed a trauma, if they have
Yeah.
experienced the trauma, right? I don't know what it's called where this family was. I want to say they were maybe in Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that, but they essentially had the kids go to a kids talk type forensic interview. And it is in that interview where the kids were like, "Oh yeah, mommy, he was daddy was physically and verbally abusive to mommy." Like it was the kids were relaying information
Right.
that they were clearly coached by her.
Because it's
And
not how children talk.
yep, because that ain't how kids talk. And it is those interviews that help secure her conviction.
Mhm.
But then she was
Yeah.
retried, and they were successful keeping those interviews out. And because those interviews were no longer into play, that greatly weakened the prosecutor's case, and therefore the prosecutor was left with entering into a plea negotiations with what's her name, Molly, with Molly and her dad. Yeah, so they had it right the first time apparently, and then the re-up said, get the kids out of there so we could win this.
Yeah, that just doesn't even make sense because they were the ones, they were the whole catalyst to the whole thing and the ones that are hurt the most. But at this point, it's just like when you warp a kid's mind so much, then how much of it is actual recollection or how much of it was fed to you that you now believe because it was fed to you so much that you don't know what the truth is anymore. And I think the kids might have said that at one
Yeah,
point. You didn't know what
and
the
right, and that is why that those kids' interviews were so successful at the first trial, because you could see just that. You could see the level of manipulation and poisoning in these kids, because their language, their demeanors, all of that was completely inappropriate for what this situation was. Kids don't talk like that. It was just wild to see. But where you say the children were kind of like the catalyst or whatever, I will go a step further and say the children were the witnesses.
yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So that was a matter of tossing out eyewitness testimony. That was a way of getting rid of or not including that 404B evidence that we believe that Nathan may have tried to run away from. So getting rid of the kids' statements, that was an extreme blow. And I was actually surprised that the judge had even allowed that. Like it had to have been really messy and muddy for the judge to have allowed that. Because like I said, that those are the only witnesses.
True. And then, the parents are only witness by word of mouth
Correct.
because they never really saw any of this stuff except for what she tried to get on tape with hidden cameras and hidden audio around the
Hmm.
house. And then
Hmm.
based on what she's telling her parents, I
Well,
guess
that hidden,
dad would act in that manner.
well,
I
anytime
know.
anytime anyone brings in a recording, I'm like, whatever. Because and this is why when I'm working, I don't record my interview because whoever is not being recorded is always going to come across as the bad guy because they don't know they're being recorded. They're just acting like their regular selves, but you know that you're
Right.
being recorded. So, and you know your intention with those recordings. And so, what we do know is people know how to push your button. So while we are listening to these recordings that she knew existed until now, she could have been pushing that man's buttons, saying stuff to
Yeah.
him that she know is
Yeah.
gonna get him riled up. And
Yeah.
then now she can say on the back end, just like we're talking about right now, see, listen, it was really him all along.
Yeah.
All along.
Because she pretty much through when you start talking about somebody's children, and this man was sensitive about his children, she starts on with the trigger of the children and doing things that she knew was going to set him off. And that's why I was like, this can't even really count because you're kind of like gaslighting him right now.
Yes. Yes. But for her, that's good. That's good play because this is what we're trying to do. And for me, that was part of the unavoidable stuff because if you're at the point to where you are making these recordings and
Mhm.
you're dropping listening devices through your house, sis, it's time to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Pack your stuff and
Mhm.
go. So now you ain't got to kill him and he ain't got to kill you.
Yeah, but then that was my point is that she did have to do that because her whole purpose was wanting those children. Because those children, she didn't want him, she wanted those kids. And so now she's got to concoct a way to get them, which is their dad is abusive, and so we need to
Hmm.
leave.
Hmm.
Ed,
And that
man,
and he knew that. That's why um some of the people, the interviewees on the documentary said that he was hesitant to even discuss adoption or
yeah,
to even
yeah.
proceed with the adoption process with her
Hmm.
because he had already peeped game.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that he was a little late in letting that relationship die out like he should have.
Yeah, but then it's the plot twist of what they started talking about they thought happened to his first wife.
Yeah, that's true.
So while he has told, I don't know, whoever he has told, and even had the children believing that the first wife died from an asthma attack. Well, the wife's family came into the picture saying they believe that he killed their daughter. So it's just a bunch of mess.
But I mean, is that often like because it's just so hard to believe that this would happen? I mean, it would be one thing if you came out and he murdered her and it was like we think he murdered our daughter too, but this man was murdered.
Hmm.
So it's not like I don't know.
Well, I think where it plays into is that if Molly and her father would not have beat him to death, that he was in the process of harming Molly. So
But
that's where what you say?
was there no evidence of that?
aside from Molly and her daddy saying it, I don't believe so, no. Well, one
Because
of the
how do you go from not being an abused woman with no reports, nothing reported, to him just up one day, just going to kill you physically?
how?
If the
How?
first wife, if the first wife died of a asthma attack, the second time he does it is not going to be a violent, bloody mess.
Well,
It's, it's calculated
it
with the
was
first one.
so we had two Scott Petersons, right? We had Scott Peterson with Lacey. And then there was another Scott Peterson. This man was a police officer and he had a string of dead wives and they were dying in the bathtubs and all kind of stuff like that. So I don't know, Tanisha.
I would think that if you're that calculated to getting away with murdering your first wife as it being her asthma, the last thing you're going to do is murder your second wife by way of something so crazily violent as that. If you were so calculated during the first,
Yeah,
if
they do.
you did. I
They
don't know.
definitely
See, this is this murder stuff. Like, man, it's just because the whole thing is that you just don't understand how any one person, you can lump people in and be like serial
hmm
killers, child molesters, this, that, and the other thing. But when you try and like understand an individual's mind and what they're going to do in any split second, it's terrifying.
Well, that's why I always say I don't
Yeah.
like that motive stuff. Because now we're poking away at what you're talking about now, right? Like it's sickening. It's difficult to digest. Um, the whys of why some people do these things, and the truth of the matter is there a real reason for it? Like other than something wrong with you,
I mean,
it
the
that
scary
just might be
Yep.
it.
the
Point
scary
blank. Period.
thing is, maybe there is a person who did it and there is no reason. And that's the
Correct.
scariest thing.
Absolutely.
Go
That's what
go
I'm
back
saying.
to the Idaho guy.
Yeah. Like some people literally like you ask them, well, why did you do that? And it might just be because I wanted to. Or it
Yeah.
might be, you know, I don't know. I'm not finna answer that. I'm not finna talk to y'all when I'm going to court.
Yeah. Or the worst is I was having a bad day. Like it's just I'm telling you, there's nobody that comes across me, next to me, behind me, in front of me, or above me that is not getting clocked by me and run down and psychologically evaluated because of all of this stuff I watch. I'm
Yeah.
watching your body language. I'm watching your eye contact. I'm listening to your voice. Like I don't get no peace out in these streets because I'm constantly like watching all for myself. That is,
Mm-hmm.
it's just scary.
And
I've
you
been
should be.
I've been that way even more so the last 2 months
Why?
since we started doing this.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I because I'm always constantly thinking about us and the show and what we're going to talk about and the cases that we're covering, and more so than just being a fan of like true crime documentaries, I'm constantly thinking about it now. So now I'm hyper aware of everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
I'm
think
staring at black bags on the side of the road more than I usually do.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I'm like watching people with their kids. Like you right over there? You all right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, um, I'm kind of like a mixed bag about it. So I kind of
You're
pay
definitely
attention to
tougher than the two of us.
yeah, like I pay attention to this stuff, right? But at the same time, kind of like what we were talking about before we started, is that because this is my work, I understand that these things are about proximity. And aside from, some of these documentaries like the Idaho murders or whatever, the majority of the time when people are harmed, they are being harmed from by someone who they know. The documentaries and the stories where it's the real stranger danger, those things really capture us because that's it happens, but it's almost like a needle in a haystack type thing. Because if you just think about it, like even right now, just you personally, any harm that has ever come to you, it's probably come to you by someone who you love and trust. It has probably come to you by someone who you lay down in the bed with and sleep with every night. And that's the truth. So while, yes, I understand that, innocent people get attacked and harmed by strangers, I am also extremely aware that crimes are mostly about proximity.
Yeah, that's true. And my circle is very small, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
watching too.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Watching
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, yeah, yep. But yeah, think about it that way. Like
Yeah,
for yourself and most people
yeah,
anytime they have been harmed, they have been harmed by someone
yeah.
that they know and
So
love.
it kind of like helps you to relax that little bit of anxiety of every single person that you look at is doing wrong, did wrong,
Mm-hmm.
or what have you, because it's heightened, I
Yeah,
tell you.
well, I would definitely pay attention to like that garbage bag on the side of the road. Like, oh, okay. I will make sure that I have made a mental note just in case I do got to come back to it. But it's not nothing that gives me anxiety. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like I like this work again because I understand the proximity of it. That helps keep that anxiety down because a lot of times it is a uncle who did this to his nephew, that kind of stuff. It's very seldom a stranger just broke in my house and slaughtered the entire family. That very seldom happens. And when it does, that's the stuff that's sensationalized because
Yeah,
it's so intriguing to us.
yeah. Well, you know what? I feel a little bit better. I'm still not gonna take my garbage out at night, even though I could take my garbage out at night, but
What?
I'll wait for the daytime for most things until the summertime when it stays lighter longer.
Oh, no,
I'm
I
working
just,
on it. I'm working on it. My mother always just
yeah.
said, just carry a big bag.
Well, me and Alex, we keep joking because I keep telling him once we get up to 200 views, I'm getting a security team.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I
because
know.
We'll have to think about that. But
but
Speaking of all that, I literally ask Ian sometimes at night, like, I like to go on a walk every night, right? Like, I like to
hmm
get out, clear my head. And sometimes if it's at like 10 o'clock at night, I'll ask Ian, like, hey, you think it's safe for me to go out and walk right now?
and then Craig will text me and be like, I think I'm gonna go for a run. I'm feeling a little like I need a run. And I'll be like, Craig, it's 10 o'clock at night. You're not going nowhere.
oh well then call me Craig because I'm gonna definitely tell you go for your run.
Go. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, keep your butt in the house, lock the doors, close the
Yeah,
window,
I'm gonna
close the
tell you go for
curtains,
your
turn
run.
down the lights.
I mean,
But I
I
also think,
I
would you say Craig?
inevitably, I was gonna say, I inevitably will run into, like, I did it last night a little earlier, but like somebody walking their dog, somebody was running, a mother and daughter were walking their daughter in a stroller at night.
Hmm.
Ain't gonna be me. I used to run at night too, but with headphones on. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, no, I just
Can't do that anymore.
yeah, no matter where I go, I just go. If it doesn't matter to me. And people always tell me that I need to be in Las Vegas where stuff is open and moving
Yeah.
and But yeah, if I feel like going out, I'm going out. Me and Dutchy, we
But
going for a walk.
let me just tell you, don't get it twisted though, because if you do catch me, I'm going to jail because I'm gonna defend myself to the fullest. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No punk on that.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
But I'm just
FAFO?
mm, yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah. If you want to,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand the kind
Mm-hmm.
of mama I got. I got free reign.
And
Okay.
then you got me to to
Yeah.
to to I
Indeed.
got your
Am
defense,
I a
T. I
scaredy
got
cat?
you.
Am I a scaredy cat over everything? Yes, but when it comes down to it, I ain't nothing but to do it.
That's it. That's it. So
Well,
did
Well,
we clear our list, or is it stuff more stuff
yes,
to talk about? Because I feel we
cleared
got
our
more stuff.
list.
That's it.
Most infuriating police failure, the perfect neighbor. Case that changed public awareness, Gabby Petito. Most disturbing unanswered questions goes to One Night in Idaho. The case no one talks enough about is the Carman family deaths and our most preventable tragedy, deadly American marriage.
I'm gonna tell y'all this is one that we gotta throw in. This is a dad's favorite, and it was the one unknown number catfish
Oh,
or
right.
something, and the mama was like cyber stalking her daughter, telling her daughter she needs to commit unalive herself, and was
I,
like sexually harassing her daughter and her daughter's friends via text messages and telling her daughter how she wants to sleep with the daughter's boyfriend and how she's gonna perform
yeah,
oral sex on the boy. Oh, it was a mess.
yeah, that was a
And
mess.
it
Did you see
had
that one, Craig?
no.
oh, you got it
Oh,
had
no.
You got three.
it
All
it
right.
had the entire internet ready to fight that girl's mama.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm,
Craig, definitely.
yeah, you gotta
Well,
watch that one.
That's one to
I,
watch.
I just had a little inspiration.
Yeah.
I think next year we need to give out real awards.
Huh?
So I get to do I get to
We'll do our own award show at the end of the year for
you get to
documentary
present
films.
and wave?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
there are a lot of films that are done exceptionally well. There are some that you watch and you just like, I actually watched one. I wish I could remember the name of it. And it was a short. And it was a young girl whose best friend or sister or something, I can't remember, was murdered. And it was like a 15-minute video of like the documentary of her life. And it was just the most beautiful thing. And I was like, sometimes you don't have to put a lot of money into something. You just put your heart into it and just, she wanted people to remember her loved one. And it was just done so beautifully. And I was like, you know, I really appreciated that. It brought me into this young girl's world, and I felt like she kept her friend alive. And I'll have to go back and look at it, and I'll say what it is next week. Some people might know what I'm talking about, but it was just really beautiful.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
I have to tell y'all, I am a big old crying crybaby, and just hearing Craig talk about, oh, we need to do this next year. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have longevity. Like this is our last
We're around as long as
recording
we
of
stay
the
for whatever
year.
Oh,
It is.
it is.
It's
It is, y'all.
our first year, our first couple of months out of a year.
Oh, wow.
Yep, yep. So
Mhm.
in that split second, you know how we were talking about Tanisha, like you see stuff and it goes before your eyes and it's
Yeah.
time like "Oop." Like
Yep.
I just saw that like when Craig was like, "Oh, next year we're gonna do awards." I'm like, "Next year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
my baby,
Here
15
already.
minutes of murder is already growing up on me."
And I just want to say before we jump off that again, like we are seriously not rehearsed. We're not reading things. We're
Mhm,
just, we might get it wrong sometimes. We might get it right. You might not agree with us, but we're just here talking about things that we've seen,
mhm.
things that we've researched, bringing light and shedding light on things that, that have really touched people's hearts and have changed people's lives. And it's sad that we can't honor these people anymore because they're no longer here, but we can honor them by telling their stories.
Yeah, telling her story.
So we bring that with as much authenticity as we can. So it's just you're getting us completely unfiltered and
Mhm.
just hanging out.
We're unfiltered, and I think that places us closer because here it seems like my word for the evening has been proximity. And I think because we are so unrehearsed, no notes, no teleprompters, that places our discussions closer to what those discussions would be, that our viewers might have as they're talking about this stuff because they're not scripted. They don't have teleprompters. They're
Yeah.
going off of their own experiences, personal ideas, and beliefs the same way that we are.
Mhm.
Um, so I look forward to being able to continue to bring that realness to our viewers because what I always say in my work, people recognize realness and realness has not failed me yet. And I don't think it will fail us with 15 minutes either.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. Oh,
Make
say Happy New Year's with an S
Happy
and,
New
and make
Year,
it
sisters.
make everybody mad. Happy New
Make sure you
Year.
send your texts apostrophe S.
Speaking of New Year's, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and go back and watch some of our past cases
Yes.
that we've covered. So, we try to remind everybody that every Sunday we have a new content. Um, and then every Wednesday we typically go live at 7:30 Eastern Time. We just released a new case last week. Um, that was the Tara Calico murder case. And then this coming Sunday, we'll be doing a deep dive into that case.
Yes, we'll be talking all about the Tara Calico disappearance and new updates, perhaps, and
Mhm.
some theories and some blame it on the police stuff.
Yep.
Because there's
Yep.
some
Uh,
stuff in there. There's some stuff in there. Go back and watch it. Go back. You can go to our website and watch it, 15minutesofmurder.com. It's the first video up there. You can watch it there. You could go to YouTube, find us at 15minutesofmurder.com, watch it there, and then be ready for Sunday when we give you the full podcast breakdown.
yep.
Yes.
Cool.
Be ready to check me, boo.
Thanks for hanging out on the Wednesday night live.
Yes.
My favorite words and
See y'all on Sunday.
in
Happy
the
New
new
Year,
year.
everybody.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.